In this short lesson, I'm going to show you how you can hold a static image on screen and retain its position despite having the rest of the scene shifting over or up and down. Let me just click play and demonstrate that, and you'll see what I mean here. So this box here that contains the score, being 100, will always remain in this fixed location like it's pinned to the screen, no matter where we travel with the game. So I'm just going to demonstrate here. See how it always stays in that place. It might look like it's moving, but it's actually staying still. It's the rest of the scene that's moving. And no matter, again, where our actor takes us with respect to navigation, this will always remain fixed to that specific place. I'm going to show you how you can do that. And also just bring to your awareness how you can sort of make sure that it's stacked properly. If I hit start, you might see the purple guy come from behind it. And in this case, that's what I wanted. I wanted this to be in front of everything else on the stage. If you want to stack it to a different sort of Z index, a different Z level, meaning front to back, that is certainly possible. But I wanted it to be at the front of everything. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the editor and I'll actually show you how this was created, and then I'll quickly delete it and create another one. As you can see in my library under my actors, I created a new actor. I called it display score. And the behavior that I applied to it was called a display text behavior, and just typed in some static text up here that you see, and I think I even left the default font and size, but I did change the text to white. And then the second part of that was, I actually kept it at center as well. Second part of that was establishing the background color for the text box. So select it in the Actors tab. Do not select it on the stage. You will get different results, and they may they may give you different renderings, if you will. So I'm just going to say click away, deselect, then select the actor inside of the list. All right, and then change your colors in here and so on. So the first thing I want to show you is the color that I selected, and it is opaque, but you could change your alpha level as well by clicking on it. 1 is completely opaque, 0 is transparent, so you can go decimal 5 to be 50% opaque if that's what you like. I'm just going to hit my return key to keep that at 1. And let's see here. Now, how do we dictate the positioning and so on? That all happens in the layers panel. So let's go to, once we've dragged it onto the stage, that is our location, let's go over to our layers panel. And I'm going to show you what we have. I'm going to collapse these boxes. And the real secret here is it's twofold. To hold it in its position, I put it inside of a new layer. I called it score box. So you may need to drag it from here up into the new layer by dragging over top. I'm going to put that back. And then it's in its own layer. And then these layers can be stacked accordingly. Now it may be tricky to grab that, but just watch where that blue line goes. So now the background is actually on top. I'll quickly show you that. And you see how the actor was in front. And if I go a little further, he's going to go behind the red boxes. So now this box is in the back. Okay, so let's go back to the editor. I do want it in the front, and it's the score box layer that contains the actor called display score. So let's put that back to the front. And you see where the blue line shows up? That's an indicator of where it will show up in the list, in the stacking order. And the big feature here is that there's a checkbox called scrollable for each layer. So to hold it in place, just uncheck scrollable. And that's like putting a pin in it, and it will not move. It'll always maintain that same location on your screen. So let's just click that again, click play. And you see how it's in the front, number 1. Number 2, it will retain its place. Let me go back and I'll actually uncheck or put the scrollable back in, and you'll see what happens here. First of all, it's not even at the top anymore. We have to come upon it right there. Now we will be able to see it in the scene, but you see that it moves anytime the background scene moves. And as we exit the scene, it would be gone as if it's just another element within the game. So we want to separate it from the game and have it floating above everything else, as well as not move, of course, and that's the big thing. It has to be floating above everything else in order for it to not move relative to the other objects. And that's by unchecking scrollable on its unique layer, which again is in the top of the stacking order. Okay, so I'm actually going to delete this whole thing. I'm going to delete the layer. And I'll go to my actor and I'll delete the actor. And I'll just quickly demonstrate this from scratch. So here we go. Create a new actor. I will give it a name. Display score. Okay, and then I will drag a display text, or you know what, I'll use the shortcuts on the keyboards here. I'll just click inside of the rules window here. This is in the backstage. If it's not available, just turn that on. It's the backstage for the display score element, and we'll click in there. And I do want to use a display, so I'll just start typing in display. Display text is the name of the behavior. And then in the input window here, I'll just say score colon 100. And this is just static text. It's just there for demonstration purposes. I'll keep the size at 30 and the font at Cambay, but I will change the font to white, or the color to white rather. And then with respect to the background, I'm going to drag it in here. I'll actually change the background right now. I'll click on here. I'll go in here and I'll just pick this burgundy, I guess, and we'll try that to start with. And I'll drag that out to the stage. Okay, so I do need to kind of make room for the text that's going to display. And we'll start with that. Hit play. So let me just find my way down to the bottom of the scene. And there it is. But of course, it is not fixed in its location. If I scroll away, it scrolls away with everything else. So let's just put it on its own layer and then turn off the scrollable feature, and that will pin it in place. Okay, so back to editor. So I do need to create a new layer for it. So under layers, I'm just going to collapse this and click the plus sign, new layer. I will name it. I'll call it score. And I do need to drag display score down there. Now, if you don't have enough room, like I don't think I'll be able to drag it past here like that. So I will lower my attributes window until I can see the word score over top of that layer, and then drag that element over top of that, and you can see how that opened up, and I know that that's in there now. So I'm going to uncheck the scrollable, and let's just hit play, and we're kind of there. It's not moving, but it's in behind everything. If I go down here, you'll see it's sitting behind everything. So the last step will be to drag it to the top of the pile. So back to my editor. I'm just going to close this. It'll be a bit easier. I'll close them both. And you just drag it, and you'll see that blue line. That shows you where it's going to go. And now it's on the top of the stack. Everything in here will be below this. This is floating above everything here. The only way to get this below this would be to drag the whole layer below. All right, let me just save my file here. And we'll click play. And this should do it. It's sitting in front. I can see my purple hero guy is behind. And when I go down, it does come in front of all of the wall elements as well. Okay, so we're at the bottom. Now we'll be scrolling on the side of the screen and through the side. And as you see here, it's pinned and fixed to that specific location. You always have the option of relocating it, but it will maintain those properties where it will stay fixed wherever you drop it. Okay, one more time with feeling. And away we go. So I'd like you to add this to the previous exercise to complete all of your points today. So again, static elements on top of moving backgrounds. And that completes this part of your lesson for today.